Hello, everyone, and welcome back to the Proving Grounds Pod, your one-stop shop for all things Proving Grounds. My name is Smax, and I'm joined by my constant co-host, Cubby. And today, for episode 34, we have with us a very special guest, the mid laner for not only Wildcard Red, but also Bethany Bradley. You're here with us today. Welcome.
We got it done.
Finally.
This is more like a celebration of like the fact the three of us actually found the time and place to like do this. Because this has been
That
in the
is
works for
true.
a couple weeks.
That is true. Yeah, it has taken a bit to like pull us off, but I'm glad we were finally getting call.
Thanks for fitting us into your crazy schedule. Obviously, scrimming with 2 teams a week is a lot.
I mean, it's a bit calmed down now, so I have a lot more time.
Yeah. When Cubby says that we've been trying to do this for a while, I don't even know if Bradley knows just how long we've been trying to do this.
Well, no, he knows because like we pinged him. It was like after Gateway,
That's
and then
true.
we like scrapped it. We're like, oh,
been a
Wildcard Red's
while.
not gonna be in PG. We'll like save him for them. So
Yeah.
we got Bradley.
And we saved it for long enough to where they are no longer in PG.
Yes.
So
It was a good run, but we might as well.
yeah, it was a
start
good
there.
run.
It was.
Yeah. So Bradley, recently
Mhm.
Wildcard Red, of course, unfortunately, your streak ended, but you took 5th, 6th in Proving Grounds, the highest finish of any amateur team, which we
Mhm.
somewhat expected. What's your initial gut reaction coming out of that?
I think the first initial gut reaction was obviously I think there is kind of like maybe the right word isn't remorse, but it's kind of just like we could have done better. Like our roster is like pretty hyped up, and we all kind of thought on the team like we would place like if not first, like second. Like we actually went into this tournament with like a lot of confidence. So while we necessarily didn't win, I think that we all kind of like learned a lot, and like our first reaction to kind of like our end was kind of like, oh, we could have done more, and maybe we could have played better. But at the end of the day, results, it's ended, and now it's kind of just like a load off of all our chests. So.
You guys definitely turns a lot of heads. I mean, like Cubby said, you guys are the highest placing amateur team. It's like tremendously difficult to follow up what NoOrg did, I think.
Right.
But like you in a lot of ways you did what NoOrg didn't as well. Like you won all of the qualifier tournaments. And like your org actually ended up carrying the entire time, which was awesome. Shout out to Wildcard. And you guys did it with the different top laner for a good chunk of it as well. You started the split with Dokla, and then Team Liquid yoinked him from you.
Him. Yeah, they just said yoink, gimme. Like, okay. So
how was it actually playing with Brandini after the swap? I know we've actually talked to everyone on that team, including your coach, except for Brandini now.
Oh, really? Okay.
Yeah.
To answer your question, I think we had a first like initial like maybe like bounce back, because we've been playing with Dokla for about like a month now, roughly, right? And then we didn't really get much scrim time in once he kind of left, and then we moved on to our second tournament, and then we played, and then we dropped that series to Maryville. But after that, I don't think we lost any other series.
Yeah,
I believe
that's true.
So initially it was like a little rough just because of like the switch, but after it was pretty easy.
Yeah, I remember you guys were like thrown into that series against Maryville like very quickly, and Maryville. I think that was the tournament where Maryville didn't play in the previous one, if I'm correct. Where they were like,
I don't know about that.
Well, either way, that's a team that's like very based around prep, and they were like very ready to play against you guys. So I think that was
it was a while back. You'd be correct. Yeah.
Yeah.
Actually, I do actually like want to hit on that for a moment too, Bradley. I know that.
Yeah.
I feel like in your team, like obviously you were the top amateur roster. I think everyone on your team is really hyped. Arrow, how can that not be hyped? LCK champion, LCS MVP making a return and crushing everyone along the way.
Yeah.
Daption, a good support in a talent pool that at that role isn't as good.
Yeah.
Winston drastically improved. You're the number 1 prospect that we have in Mobalytics. And then Brandini, who stepped in later, but honestly, I thought performed outstanding. And I kind of Like, what are some things that like really like Brandini brought to the team, or things that like you thought that Brandini was really good at? Because it feels like everyone kind of talks a lot about the members of Wildcard Red, and sometimes he gets forgotten, but he really stood out to me actually throughout a lot of this.
So a big portion of like why that is like, you take the look at our roster and it's like, oh, we have Arrow bot lane, you know what I mean? Like as you were saying, like all of his like titles and stuff like that. How could you not like want to play for Arrow, right?
Yeah.
So it's like one of the things Brandine does really well is making sure that he's not bleeding as hard as weak side. You know what I mean? Like being a weak side top laner for like most of your games and most of like the series is like kind of tough if you think about it, because it's like, you kind of have like, I don't know, just imagine being a top laner and then like you're going into drafting, like you're kind of just, you're not really gonna be path to and like things of that nature. But I felt like on the moments that Brandini was like even played strong side as well, like he performed there as well. So I thought it was like really cool to have someone like to be so good at weak side and strong side, like the versatility. Because obviously, you want to play for Arrow and stuff like that. But when there was, Jace Flex on red side, right? Or just something like that, that ended up going to Brandini. He was able to like pull through, so
yeah. I think it's really interesting with the way that the meta played out for like the higher teams in Proving Grounds, because if you think about who the like top laners are left, and like even some that already got knocked out, they are all very, very good at weak side, and that's like the way that the team plays around it. Like Jenkins is often the weak side on that squad. Like,
oh,
go ahead.
It's so weird too, because it's like, especially right now, it's like it's so weird because like a lot of like the top lane like meta, for quote unquote weak side is like Camille, Jace, Kennen, but they don't sound like weak side top. You know what I mean? So it's kind of like weird if you think about it, but it's also so impressive at the same time. Because in a sense, like you're managing it all by yourself, and if your jungler's not going to help you, you have to be on top of your game, especially if you're playing those champions. So
yeah, it's really interesting, and I think as I was saying, like a lot of the top laners are really solid at that. Like even Niles is playing those champions that you're saying. He's playing a lot of Jace and the Gangplank, which is more weak side than that, but
yeah, that's
not
Niles
a lot of resources.
Gangplank.
Yeah, yeah, true.
Yeah.
So I think I think that it's really interesting. I think that he was like in a lot of ways like the perfect guy to slot into the team for you guys. With the way that the meta progressed and how your team was put together as well.
Yeah.
As Cubby was saying though, I think the player that most people would look at as like huge improvements over the split, but also the entire year is Winston. What is your take on that? Like how his improvement helped you guys?
So to be honest, I feel like, and the thing that like kind of sucks, especially for Winston's sake, what Winston really excels at is stuff that you can't really see. And it's really hard to kind of like show that like in a game.
Yeah, he's the
Because
in-game leader, right?
yeah. Like him and Arrow mostly are like the in-game leaders, but it's stuff that like you wouldn't think could like he could be doing that he is doing, and he's actually like it's really helpful. Like with draft and like with in-game shot calls, like I think like when we are playing in like the tournaments, especially like in Proving Grounds, the earlier ones, he had like there's a scrim set where he just had like every game he's just making the right calls over and over and over and over. And that's not something that's easy to do, right? And it's like, especially as like a jungler, you have to make these calls so soon, and they have to be very accurate, or they could be game losing and stuff like that. And I think what Winston excels at the most is like communication as well, because it's like as a spectator, you don't hear comms, you can't hear what other people are saying. And I found it really cool. Like Winston was pretty much carrying comms and stuff like that, like especially for me, right? Like as a mid laner, like always talking to me, figuring out what I want. Especially he was talking like Daption too, like helping out where he needs to be, right? And just like stuff like that. So we were all like organized and communicative. Like he was a big part of that. So it kind of sucks because I actually think like throughout like the start to finish, like I would say that Winston definitely has improved, but I definitely don't think it's as a big enough improvement as people might think. I think it's just something that people didn't see, which is hard. But I mean, that was kind of just the reality of it. And I think that winning, helped kind of like showcase his talent, which I'm happy for because, I think he's a great jungler. So
yeah, I think meta change also like definitely helped a little bit too, because like he's
Lee
very good Lee, very good Zin, and
Sin,
getting
yeah.
off of like Hakarma Udyr was helpful.
Mhm.
Yeah, I think
Oh, no one liked that meta. Oh my
yeah, no,
gosh.
I mean, it
Oh
was a
my
tough
gosh.
meta to like even like express skill, right? Like I think like
You're
the
giving
only
me PTSD. Oh
yeah,
my gosh.
like the
Hecarim Udyr.
the only player we saw like really like step up during that would have been like Fnatic. Like
Yeah.
his
Yeah,
It
Hecarim was
that's
helped
like
true.
RBM come back.
gangbusters. Yeah, but man, it was like that was a tough meta. So it was yeah, I mean, I think that actually like helped a lot of junglers as well. But
Mm.
definitely something that like was a highlight for a lot of us because like I think Winston got the short end of the stick being on Solo Fide, kind of like being the
Yeah, he
unknown
kind of
member
got.
on a known team, and it's fun
That's
to like see
true.
him doing well. So yeah.
Yeah, yeah, of course.
Oh man, I actually forgot about that. For a second, for Solo
What
Fide.
the Solo Fide? Rip
Yeah,
Solo Fide.
I was just earlier making a joke about the other roster from Noorg, but oh man. Anyway,
Mhm.
so for the Hecarim Udyr meta, you actually weren't playing in amateur during that time. What was going on for you during that break? Because you did play in the scouting ground circuit of 2020. You were on a team that we were just
Yeah,
joking about earlier, the Gerb Nation boys.
Garib Nation.
We'll talk about them in a bit, but what
Yeah.
happened in that sort of off split for you?
So there was like another team that I did play on, called like Sign Us Please, and it didn't
Oh
last for
yeah.
too long, but I did enjoy like my time with them. Um, but basically, I just kind of thought about it, and I was like, like I really do like playing amateur, 100%, but I felt like while I do all that, like I love like my past teammates and all my past experiences, stuff like that, like I didn't necessarily want to be like middle pack anymore or like upper middle
Mm.
pack. You know what I mean? I wanted to try to be, the best, right? So I thought to myself, how is the easiest way to do that, right? So I just told myself, I'm gonna shoot for as high as I can on the solo queue ladder and try to prove myself there and then get people's attentions that way. And then through that, maybe I can get tryouts to different amateur teams. That's exactly what happened with Wildcard. So I kind of just took a break to kind of focus on solo queue, try to get as high ranked as possible there. And then luckily my plan kind of worked.
Yeah. I remember getting a lot of progress updates from one Brandon Colomer about where you were on the ladder. It's like, see, he's at 900. I was like, okay, he's at 900.
Yeah,
He broke 1K. It was very fun.
I actually peaked here at Bethany. And I actually so like this is my like personal thing. I place a lot of that on like ping, but that's just my thing because I come from Florida where the ping is like 60 to 80, and then you go to somewhere like Minnesota and the ping's like 20,
Yep.
right? So I definitely do think that plays part of it. But yeah, I definitely did peak here at Minnesota here at Bethany, and I feel like part of that was because of ping, but I definitely was trying to climb the solo queue ladder as much as possible.
Yeah, that also like it's kind of nice to like see and hear that because also I mean like your champion pool like it's kind of funny like what you were known for already is like the assassins like your
Mhm.
Aurelia, Akali, Gwen when she first came
Mhm.
out you were nutty
Yes,
on that champion.
I
And
love
the thing
Gwen.
that you really had to pick up throughout the split was actually like kind of mastering control mages more and like making
Mhm.
sure that like you also had that in your pocket as well. What was that process like? Kind of like with your own play and like working with Morgan to make sure that like, hey, my Syndra, Orianna, these champions that always find their way in competitive play can also match up with like the Aurelia, the Akali, the Gwen, the thing that I'm
Yeah.
already like known for, right?
So, when I first joined Wildcard, there was like I feel like there was a good mix. The mid meta was weird. There was no like Syndra or Ori yet, but I don't know if you remember. It's kind of like Victor. It's kind of Victor meta. When I first joined
Yep.
Wildcard in the first like 2-1 tournament, it's kind of like Victor meta. And there's one more kind of like AP mage that I don't quite remember. Maybe it was like Anivia or some niche pick like that. But um, I was kind of getting used to like Victor alongside the other assassins and stuff like that. And I had always liked the assassins because I felt like they were more skill expressive and it's easier to create gaps in lane like that when you can play like those skill expressive showcase, like your play style and stuff like that.
Yeah. I think
Um
Akali was really big then, yeah.
yeah. Akali was fairly big for like 2 months and then she kinda got nerfed a little bit. Just a
Yeah.
little bit, and now she's not really played anymore. Sad. But especially for proving grounds now, because all throughout the amateur scene with all the tournaments. I believe that was more so like the Akali, Irelia, Silas kind of even like those kind of the melee mids play style. And then actually once it hit proving grounds, it started rotating more into like Twisted Fate, Syndra, Rise, things of that nature. So while I could say like, yeah, they're definitely not like my preferred picks, it's fairly easy kind of like transitioning it because if you're aspiring to go like academy, you know, potential LCS like later on in the future, you know, that's stuff that you have to get good at. And so, you know, the easiest thing for me to do, even though I felt like I generally have like a good grasp of these champions like already, is kind of just like go on YouTube, type in Kara Challenger, and just watch like mage bots. You know, Dopa, especially on Oriana, Faker, Syndra, and just things of that nature.
Yeah, that makes sense. I think the mage stuff ended up working pretty well, but yeah, it is a bummer that we didn't get the same like high skill like.
I know stuff. They made the mid meta so lame. They made it Twisted Fate Rise. Like really?
Dude, people are picking Lissandra in like 20%
of the
games or something.
Yo,
like...
hold on. Big fan of Liss.
Cubby.
Yes.
Don't say that.
Dive bot. Anything that dives bot, I'm
so,
in for.
I will actually agree with you on the Lissandra only if you're going full AP electrocute.
Yep.
Because you know that's fun.
Okay.
Go for the Ludens electrocute, just one shot the block,
yeah.
You know? Yeah, it's good.
Yeah.
All right, that's not as bad as I thought that you'd be into, Cubby.
I mean,
I guess you are like a Lucian player in mid.
So honestly, like after watching LPL play with Sandra, I love that champ. Because like they ball out once they hit 6, and then no matter how fed the Blanc gets later, like you just press on the champion and she dies. Like it's actually disgusting watching LPL play this. Because like I used to think that like Wiss like you know gets outscaled by like LB, like eventually like you hit 16 on LB, you got like the chains of controller, you can force her like ult on her own. No, the way LPL plays it, they literally just wait for like this to have flash cooldown. They will flash Q to get rid of Banshees and R, and then they just die. And it's so fun to watch.
Yeah.
Actually, an exciting champ.
Yeah, I like watching full AP Lissandra just one-shot people. It's pretty fun.
I wonder if Firefire was playing this tournament, if Malzahar would be like a big counter to LeBlanc in this tournament as well.
Unity played it.
Ooh.
He did.
It's good. No, like I think Mel's is like actually good right now.
I forgot about that.
I also think Malzahar is like pretty good. He's kind of like in the same situation as kind of like Lissandra, kind of. Right, Lissandra obviously has like a little bit more benefit in competitive just because we're passive in team fights, stuff like that. But I definitely do think like Malzahar is not in a bad spot. Although versus LeBlanc, I actually never really liked Malzahar versus LeBlanc, but maybe I'm just biased.
Doubles 1 through 5 are really hard.
Yeah. Well, because you can't, your spell shield doesn't do anything because the chain will still root you. So it is harder. Like Lissandra's definitely the better choice there, but once you get 6, it's pretty good.
True.
Then your passive doesn't do anything, so it's nice. Also, if you hit the silence, and the LeBlanc probably did something wrong, but
yeah, you're not wrong.
Yeah. So for the rest of Proving Grounds, I'm actually gonna dive into this now. So we've got the top 4 solidified. Tomorrow is going to be the upper final. So we have 100 Thieves Academy versus Team Liquid Academy, and then on Friday we have the lower something. Lower, I don't know.
Lower
it's
something.
Top 4.
Lower bracket match before lower bracket finals. That's it.
Well, no, because that's not even the lower bracket finals.
Semis?
Exactly. It's the lower bracket match before lower bracket finals. That's the title of it.
Oh, okay.
Yeah, officially.
Oh,
it's in the Leaguepedia. Check it out.
So the lower bracket quarters.
Bradley does.
Yeah.
I don't know. But yeah, Friday is Golden Guardians Academy versus IMT Academy. So I'm actually curious what your impression of like who you think is going to take it from here, because one, you've played against two of these teams now, right?
Yeah, we played against 100 Academy, and then we played against Golden Guardians.
Yeah. And then also we got some news today. I believe Tim was the one who had a big tweet. Team Liquid is playing with Inori and Doka for the rest of the
right.
So that shakes up my thought, because I thought Team Liquid was going to win. I no longer think that. But what do you think?
I think I played against 100 Thieves Academy. I think they're strong. I do think that Team Liquid is a little better, in my opinion. I think Team Liquid still is a little better. Although you could say I'm maybe biased by Dokla, maybe, but I do think they're slightly better. And then as far as Golden Guardians versus Immortals, you said, honestly, it's so weird when you think about it because it's like, you know, at the kind of like during proving ground and stuff like that, not to insult Golden Guardians or anything, especially after they beat us or anything, but like I think you could say like some people didn't really expect Golden Guardians to win versus the tougher opponents, and they've definitely actually kind of like proved themselves as far as the proving grounds goes. So I would say like even though I actually do think Immortals is favored, I don't think it'll necessarily be a blowout because like going in, I can tell you, like from my experience, going into the match against Golden Guardians, we thought we were gonna win pretty easily, but they fought back really well, and they actually took the series. So kind of extending that in, but for Golden Guardians, it was kind of like, oh, this isn't as maybe a bad team as maybe we thought, and stuff like that.
Yeah,
They're ramping up.
What out
sure.
of those two teams specifically kind of like caught you off guard when they took you guys down? I feel like I want to like dive more into that.
Well, the one versus 100 Acad was really weird because we started out game one.
You had like the BM book on Rise, and you like just
Yeah,
you like pop the fuck off, yeah.
it was actually really weird because it was a best of 3, and then game one was like actually a stomp. Not like BM, but like, it was
No, it
actually a
was,
stomp.
yeah.
So then it was weird because it's like, oh, is this series like was this going to be this easy? So I don't want to say like maybe like we eased up a bit, but it felt really weird because after what happened to game one, the same thing happened to game two, just switched, and then it was just like it kind of caught us off guard, and then kind of like the mental warfare because you win game one, you have the mental, and then you lose game two, and then it's just everything shifted. So I'd say that kind of caught us off guard a little bit. Obviously, like in-game execution and stuff like that could have gone better, but at the end of the day, they kind of, to be honest, I don't remember much about the series other than the fact that we played really strong game one and we kind of just ended game two and game three, to be honest with you. So there's kind of that for 100 Acad. I do think Chad was kind of slept on a little bit in the Acad series and stuff like that. Because, obviously it's hard to fill in the shoes of Kenvi, right? But I'd say he did a good job. And then as far as Golden Guardians, it was kind of like what I talked about earlier, where it's like you'd maybe look at Golden Guardians and you'd say like, oh, okay, like we can be Golden Guardians, and then like it starts out that way, right? Like I think my personal performance game one, I was like 10, 1 and 10, and it was kind of like one of those like, oh, this is kind of easy, and then game two is kind of weird. It was like a 40-minute banger, and then we'd lost, and then game three we won. So it's kind of like in a sense like, oh, another series where it's kind of over. Because like I remember game two, we were kind of just like, or like after talking about it, we were kind of just saying, oh, we kind of lost ourselves that series, right, and stuff like that. But then game four and game five, we kind of just didn't it. Like to be honest with you, we kind of just didn't it. So it's kind of weird because I can't really pinpoint anything that they did in game four and game five. I feel like we just kind of ended. It's kind of the same story from 100 Thieves Academy, but
Yeah.
yeah.
Do you like have any ideas to like what might have caused like this like I guess it's like in series inconsistency you could say?
So
Like
I was kind
especially
of
good.
I was kind of thinking about this on my own, like after like kind of like reflecting on like the match stuff like that. I feel like you could actually kind of contribute a small portion of that. So if you think about it from like an outsider's perspective, right? Um, we've been winning everything. You know what I mean? Now necessarily like, we lost the series versus Maryville, but where like a huge amount of stuff is on the live and you can't afford to lose. Like when we were losing, a lot of the teams, that have already gone through this kind of defeat before, we haven't. You know what I mean? So like I would say a small portion of it actually you could probably contribute it to like we haven't really tasted defeat before. Not to say like we were the greatest or anything, but like we haven't really lost. So when you're going into these matches and then you're losing and it's not going according to plan, you know, it's kind of rougher because you haven't been able to deal with it before. So I'd say that kind of contributed a decent amount to it. Yeah.
The suffering from success angle.
Hey, I mean,
yeah, a little bit. I don't want to give it like I don't want to say like that's like the main reason or anything, but I definitely don't think like that's wrong to feel or wrong to say or anything.
I mean,
like that.
there is something to feel like to learn about, like, you know, being in that situation, because like looking at you and your career, that's the furthest, like, discounting C-Law, that's the furthest you've made it in a tournament, and this is more competitive, right? So
true.
Yeah, like there is something to pick out from, you know, having those experiences and being there. So it's kind of interesting to like to hear you kind of reflect on it, you know. Yeah, no, that's cool. Moving outside of that, though, so Chad Jungle, a little bit slept on. I don't think a lot of people are sleeping on him now after the performances that he's put up. Golden Guardians, it feels like everyone is still sleeping on, as they just keep on finding wins. They took down Dig and you.
Yeah.
Dig were the hot hand of the tournament, it felt like. Then you guys went in there, and they grinded out that 5-game series.
Yeah.
And now let's start with 100 Thieves versus TL. You're still TL favored. So you have TL winning that one?
Yeah.
Okay.
But I don't think it'll necessarily be a blowout. I don't think either series will be a blowout.
Okay.
I think they'll be close.
All right. So you have 100 Thieves then moving down to face the winner.
He's at IMT.
Yeah, GGA versus IMT. So who do you have in that one?
100 Thieves Academy versus the winner of that, which would be IMT. So that's actually kind of tough. Honestly, you could say like I might be biased because I know you know I'm actually friends with Chad Jongo, and he maybe say I'm biased, but I actually think 100 Thieves Academy could win versus Immortals. I think Immortals is actually really good though, like in their own regard. I think kind of playing against Immortals and stuff like that, kind of like in scrims.
I think Viper's been on one this tournament. Like
they're actually really good, and it was kind of like in scrims especially, it's kind of a wake up call. It's like, oh, holy hell, you know, these guys are no joke. But I definitely do think that 100 Thieves can tough it out in a best of 5. If it were actually a best of 3, I'd actually say Immortals might win.
Really?
But because of a best of 5, I actually think 100 Thieves could win. Like my prediction, if that were to happen, I bet you Immortals would start 2-1, and then 100A would win 3-2.
All right. If that happens, I feel like we have to like call Bradley like Lord Bradley like for a month or something.
We got to do something.
Yeah. Okay. So IMT go up 2-1, then 100 Thieves come back and win 4-5. It's Lord Bradley. We'll do Lord Brad on that.
Well, what if we do this, Cubby? What if you get his Bethany jersey and I get his wildcard jersey?
Yeah, for him being right. Yeah.
Well, are either of you guys mediums? Because my Bethany jersey or my wildcard jersey is a medium.
I am a medium.
Oh no, I was saying we would buy the merch and then we'd get your name on it.
Oh, okay, that works too.
That's sorry, I worded it wrong. We would buy
that
your
could be an
merch.
option, yeah. That could be an option.
Yeah, that works too. Yeah.
No, that's actually interesting. And I think that like for IMT specifically, like looking at their gameplay, because for me, I think that whoever wins GGA IMT like could be argued as the favorites for the rest, considering that 100A have roster changes and TL have like very recent roster changes.
Yeah,
I think that community will try and make that argument.
Yeah.
But the thing that's really impressed me with IMT is Viper and Anda are playing out of their goddamn minds, like for some of these games.
Synergy.
Like, I watched Anda play the Camille Jax matchup against Tony Top, get solo bulldoed, and then come back and like solo kill him and just hard carry the game, like stuff like that. Like it's wild. Yeah.
Anda do this or Viper?
Viper, yeah. And like Anda in the same game was like on his Jarvan.
If Anda did that,
No, Anda was like on his Jarvan that game on like 6-1 and 16 or something stupid. Yeah. Like the two of them, they got down in the series against Dig and just like EG and Dig and just refused to lose. It was really impressive to watch.
Yeah, actually, I kind of forgot about EG, but now that you kind of like brought them, I'm kind of sad actually. I was really looking forward to like playing against Evil Geniuses,
For
because I
JoJo
thought
Peel.
like, yeah, I was really excited because I definitely feel like they're a good team, and I
Yeah,
felt like they actually got knocked out way too soon.
I agree.
I was kind of sad about that. A lot of people I think had like high hopes for them, stuff like that.
Yeah,
And I did too, especially. So it's kind of sad that they got knocked out so early,
it seemed
especially
to
for my
me.
sake, 'cause I wanted
It
to play
seemed to
against
me
them.
like they had some trouble gelling, especially in like the mid department. I think, which makes sense because Contracts is like super Smurf. So like, I think you talk about like Chad filling the roles of Kenvi. I think arguably Tomio filling the role of Contracts is even harder on that team because he's
That
like
is
the
true.
main voice.
I think I'll have to agree with you there too. Contracts went up to LCS,
Yeah,
and then he's kind of showing himself to be an LCS caliber jungler, and then now, yeah, kind of filling the shoes of like an LCS caliber jungler. Yeah, that would be kind of hard now.
I thought Tomio
I
played
think
really
Tomio's
well,
good.
and I
Yeah,
actually
Oh
I
thought
no,
think
yeah,
Tomio's
yeah,
very
yeah.
good.
I agree. I agree. But as far as like as far as your point goes to like filling the shoes, I just feel like that's
Yeah,
a bigger shoe to fill.
because
I also
Tomio's
think
really good, but it's the whole team dynamic that I think ended up being in a sort of unfavorable state for like
yeah.
their success in that tournament.
I thought Team Luke picked it up actually too.
That's true.
Unironically in
Team
this
Luke was looking
tournament, I
really
thought he
good.
was playing pretty good.
Mm.
But yeah, that's funny. Yeah, I mean PG's crazy. Like, I mean, it's 16 teams,
Yeah.
and it really felt like. I mean, Resolve top 8. Like they made top 8 at like 15, right? Like
Yeah,
it
they
was a
beat
very
Cloud9
competitive tournament.
Academy.
Yeah, it was a very competitive tournament.
They
So
swept them off.
yeah, that was fun.
Well, now that I mentioned that, quick little like side note, it's so weird actually about that because like going into that, not to hate on Resolve, but I don't think anyone like expected Cloud9 to like drop to Resolve. So
Yeah.
we were doing our prep kind of like, okay, because we were going to play, we thought Cloud9 Academy. And
Right.
nope, Resolve beat them. So then we played against Resolve, and then after that, I think Cloud9 Amateur Academy played against each other, and we were going, or no, it was, yeah. Cloud9 Academy Amateur played against each other. Cloud9 Academy won, and then they went up against Golden Gardens, I think.
Yeah.
Or was yeah. And then so we thought, okay, we're gonna play
This
Cloud9
is where
Academy
you play
again.
against Cloud9.
Yeah. Nope. I have no clue what happened to them because I actually think that they're good. I have no
Yeah.
clue what happened to them. Like it's weird too when you think about it because they were kind of like EG in a sense. I was excited to play against them because I actually thought they were like a really good team, but then they just kind of lost, kind of like we did, kind of just lost. Golden Gardens is like the dark horse, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
A lot of matches in
I
PG where you think like, oh, they'd be one way, they actually went the complete opposite. Resolve,
Right.
Cloud9, stuff like that,
I mean, GG are the 12th seed and they're in top 4. So
Yeah,
that's all you have to say, really.
that's true. From rags to riches.
True.
Yeah.
I think the Cloud9 thing is also just really strange with how that all played out. I think like as funny as the Resolve curse of the second seed is, like that's so hilarious. At the same time, like what's actually going on with that? Because I Cloud9 were winning both of those games. Like if you went back and you looked at the stats of Cloud9.
Oh no, yeah, I was watching.
Yeah.
Cloud9, they had like Jace Kindred, and like you're hitting tab at like the 15-minute mark. Jace is like 150 CS, and Kindred is like 10, 100 CS, and like both of their opponents are just down tremendously. And you think like, oh, game's over. Nope.
Yeah.
Somehow, nope.
The Resolve Ornn, I guess.
Actually,
enough.
though.
That was so funny. I can't believe that like they just like broke Cloud9 so hard that now like all the teams are playing Ornn. Like if you see Niles' Ornn.
Yeah.
Well, they were always playing Ornn, but
that's true.
I will say that like at least the game 1 comp for Resolve, like the Ornn, TF, and Tristana, like and especially like Ornn and Renekton, like C9 did break it, but I really like that comp from Resolve. Like
it was good
playing with something like TF Tristana, where it's like you just play off gold card, and then like whoever you gold card, like Tristana, just has to one shot.
Array was playing really easy, so well.
Well, it's really easy, but like it plays into the strength of Array. Like Array is an amazing team fighting AD carry. Like he really is. Like, and we've seen him do well consistently in team fights. I mean, this weekend, like at the LAN, there were
Yeah.
really no other ADs that could like truly hold a candle to him, is what it felt like, and he just ran every one of the bot lane. Like he was
awesome.
farming 10 CS a minute every game, like good positioning in team fights every game. Like he was so hard to deal with for these teams. And I really want to see him like. He's a good player, actually, though, like, if he takes steps to the next level, it's really easy to teach laning compared to, like, team fight vision. Like, I think that he could do, like, really well taking a step to the next level. So, yeah.
Especially if, like, those kind of skill sets, especially, like, team fighting, stuff like that, yeah. Just like you said, you could argue that, like, promoting him and then having, like, an individual coach would solve, like, all of his issues and stuff like that.
Yeah, he feels
Especially.
like...
I think that's what happened to Spawn.
I was just about to make that comparison. He's in a really similar comparison to, like, where Spawn was last year.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's true.
It's really cool.
Yeah.
Well, okay, so who did you pick in the end to win? Sorry, we like.
Oh, that's true. I don't think. Well,
so IMT 100.
I predicted 100 to win the best of 5.
Right.
And then it would be 100 versus Team Liquid again. And then I would still say Team Liquid.
Okay.
I think.
See, for me, I think the teams are so close now that the Team Liquid roster change came through. Like before, I was all things Liquid. And it's not that I'm not confident in Dokla. I think Dokla's very good. I think Jenkins is also very good. I think Dokla's super solid. I'm not very confident in the jungle change for Team Liquid. I think Armeo is such a cornerstone for the team, and we've already seen what they play like with Inori. It's not quite the same, so that worries me for them. But it just means that all the teams are so close now. So
honestly, they're gonna get the roster buff just like 100 Thieves did. They're gonna get the roster buff. Like you think
the
it's an
honeymoon.
outside? Nope. Yep. It's a roster buff.
Yeah.
Little honeymoon phase.
They've been scrimming together for a while now. Like they knew this change was coming. Spawn teased it like early last week. So
Spawn, like in a way, CL was somewhat surprised that like they were able to have games with their roster. You know, like that's like actually like how it went. But I don't know. I think we have a PG that's like. I think 4 teams ever interesting. I'm at the moment leaning towards IMT or IMT 100 Thieves final. Honestly, I think that IMT can break GG, but we'll see.
Yeah,
I want IMT to be in the finals just for like storyline's sake. I know that has nothing to do with anything, but like yes, I want them to be in the finals really bad.
Yeah.
I also love the guys on Golden Guardian, so like. That's just for
Prismal's been having himself a tournament. Holy spell. Yeah, he's been playing really good. So
Prismal's so good.
No,
Newbie's super solid too. I have really been enjoying the way that Newbie's been playing.
It's been fun to watch for sure.
Looks really solid.
But
a bunch of Smurfs and Proving Grounds.
Yeah.
True.
I'm actually like kind of curious, like kind of taking a step back. And Bradley, we have you as a mid laner, a very talented mid laner in NA. What's the meta gonna be like going into Worlds? And I know that like we haven't mentioned like talked about like Worlds that much, but while we have you here, there's been rumors flying around of Tryndamere mid, Jarvan mid.
Jarvan mid. Okay, I've heard
Jarvan mid being flexed
around.
I don't
know about... there's potential of Jarvan flex. He was kind of picked up as a answer to Jace like in solo.
Yeah, I've heard that.
Spawned around.
He's really good at the cannon too.
Ago,
yeah.
Yeah. And I think, Tryndamere mid, I think definitely has potential. As far as the meta goes, it's actually weird to think about. I honestly have no clue, cause you could default to like Syndra Ori, right? It could quite literally go back to like the traditional mages of Syndra Ori Azir.
I feel like TF's way too strong to not be played in the tournament, like not be meta.
I'm sure some teams will default to mages though. Yeah. That's just how Worlds works.
And then there's Twisted Fate, there's Rise. You could fit in Silas some slots. Trinity is kind of like a rising sleeper. Like
if TF's strong, then Silas is going to be played.
Yeah, true. You could probably play Tryndamere TF as well, honestly.
Dude, here's my counter pick to Twisted Fate. You ready?
I actually have one. I have one too.
Okay.
Can you share it or
I-
no? Is this under reps?
Well, yeah.
What is it?
I mean, I remember it's something that I saw on solo queue. Popular. It's not popular at all, but Callista destroys Twisted Fate.
Oh,
And I personally think Akshan does well into it as well.
Akshan, I definitely could see. I think that champion's really strong, but he's not going to be enabled at Worlds.
Yeah, it's not enabled for Worlds. Yeah.
Yeah. My
Bummer.
pick into TF is Cho'Gath. They just buffed his Q cooldown to 6 seconds, and you can't dodge it as Twisted Fate. There's no way to get out of it.
You can
Yeah.
get.
So-
I mean, he boots rushes though, so that kind of plays into that.
You could rush Merc Treads if you really wanted to.
Yeah.
You
And
could.
it kind of feels bad because you don't have this. There's actually, I don't know what happened to the guy. There's a Cho'Gath one trick mid player. Alex, maybe so.
We sure.
Oh,
it's not,
yeah.
We sure.
But
it's
I
not
think-
like an
I
APA
think it is
account?
Alex Place.
I mean,
Yeah.
it might be actually, but like this guy was like a hardcore Cho'Gath mid, like one
Yeah,
trick.
yeah.
He would
I
play
remember who
AP
you're talking
Cho'Gath.
about.
It was
Yeah,
actually,
he'd go like Everfrost.
I hated playing against it. It was so annoying. I
I wonder
remember,
if he's still playing. I need to
I
look this up.
remember I asked him after a game, what am I supposed to play into this? Because I don't know what I can play into Cho'Gath. I don't even know.
So,
blinded by
His account's inactive. That feels bad.
Oh.
so the patch
it
came
was
out
Alex.
today, obviously.
Mhm.
What before midnight we saw a couple changes. I think notably Akali buffs.
Yeah. So I was really happy when I saw that Akali was being buffed, and then when I saw those buffs, I was like, this is. I wish.
It's not it.
So it really sucks because
It's Akali top buffs.
the two changes that she did have patches ago with her EQ interaction and her ult damage actually really hurt. I think that if they reverted the EQ change, I actually think she'd be in an okay spot. I think all they had to do was nerf her ult damage like they did, and it was okay. I remember even like especially when Akali was building Gunblade
Yeah.
and stuff like that, right? There's like two main complaints of Akali, right?
Mhm.
There's like the fleet Dorn Shield second wind like main complaint to where you just can't kill her, and then there's the she hits level 6 and then she kills you, right? So, I mean, in my opinion, I thought her ult damage nerf, while it might be lame, sure it's justified, but you don't have to do anything after that. But nope, they took it a step further, and now she's just not played ever. Thanks, Riot.
Hey,
And then
so they buffed both Akali and Gwen aimed at top lane because Gwen got some health
Yeah.
regain back.
Mhm.
Yeah.
Kennen got taken down a notch.
A little bit. I don't think that's gonna matter though. Like I think it is like 10 damage rank.
Yeah, high key.
Something minuscule.
The Mordekaiser buff was huge. The 4
He's been
seconds
buffed
off
a
the E
lot.
cooldown.
I
or,
think if you can fit him into a counter pick, then yeah, I would say that like it's very huge. But I don't think he's gonna be like a blindable top.
Yeah, I don't think
No.
like I mean you can counter him like he's got a really good matchup in the set. So I think that like we might see that because there are situations where he's good. But I'm curious like with Ryze being nerfed, do you think the TF is still like just the meta defining mid? Like is there going to be a mid that's like way too like OP in Worlds that like, it's just going to be blinded every single time or is
They
like
didn't
TF
nerf
gonna be
the rat.
perma?
Ziggs is still there.
So I actually do think that Twisted Fate might go down a little bit in Worlds, and the only reason I say that, right, and that sounds like really weird, especially for like competitive play. I actually like one of my worries and scouting grounds especially was like Twisted Fate is like really high prio, but I actually feel like if you're first picking him, he could actually be countered very easily.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Because you're blinding your mid, and Twisted Fate, honestly, like in the meta right now, like a lot of the meta mids, you're fine playing against. But there are some things to where you can actually just get destroyed. You know what I mean? But people they haven't really been opting into that.
So you
So
think
I
that
feel
like
like-
if he becomes that good, then people are going to pick up like the extremely hard counters against him, like a Fizz or something like that?
I think they could do it now. I think
Yeah.
they could have done it now in PG. And,
They start
like-
practicing it.
you could, like let's say you B1 Twisted Fate, you could immediately respond with like Lucian or like Callista or Akshan or Yasuo Diana, things of this nature. You know what I mean?
Mhm.
I don't know why teams haven't done it actually, because if you're gonna blind any mid, I think Ryze is a little better, but
He did get
it's
nerfed,
kinda-
but yeah.
he didn't get nerfed. I don't think the nerfs are going to matter too much. I think they do hurt. I don't think they're going to matter that much. But I do think like if Tustafe like Worlds, he will be picked, but I definitely think it's going to be maybe kind of like a R3, and then set up 2 bans maybe.
Okay. I still think we're gonna see him like R1, R2.
You think so?
Legit. Yeah, I think some
the
teams
only
it's gonna be that
reason-
high prio.
The only reason I think this is because like you're gonna see like hopefully right LPL is kind of known for like that perma fighting. So
Dude, the
I
EU
really hope
team-
that they lock in like Lucian. and
Mad will
Tustafe.
fucking be 1 TF. Like,
Yeah.
I honestly think we're gonna see like TF like. I don't know, you're right, because like the Worlds meta, like I think one of the more fun parts about Worlds is that every patch in the league is 3 weeks. The Worlds patch is 6 for these guys. Like
Yeah.
they figure out some wild shit to play. And I remember a lot of Worlds like tournaments where halfway through the tournament, this extremely OP blind pick, everyone just picks up a counter to it, like a Victor into Aatrox, and then it's gone, right?
Yeah.
So I think TF could be like a champion where like I want to see Yasuo Diana. Like, and if you blind a TF into an LPL team, you will probably have to deal with Yasuo Diana, right?
Yeah.
But I'm with you like in the sense that it's curious to think about like the counters being played because he is a very easily counterable champion. There's still so many ways that he just cheats tempo and cheats getting back out onto the map and can cheat making plays that I'm curious. Like, I feel like he might be permabanned or like I think that he might be very meta defining.
He probably will be perma-banned.
He might be like blue side ban, like on the list. I'm kind of curious, yeah.
Dude, if Jenkins was a mid laner, Team Liquid would have a counter prep.
You think so? Yeah.
He's so good at that shit, man. Do you remember
Everyone's
what
gonna
he
have a
did
counter
to the?
prepped for TF and shit.
I mean, that's true.
Yeah.
But...
I want to see
Oh,
Fizz.
man.
Fizz got some nice buffs. The E cooldown got reduced.
Yeah. I played a Fizz game today in solo queue. I was inspired.
Ooh.
I was inspired by the changes.
How bad was it?
Oh no, to be honest, like I was playing against Katarina, like Katarina, like
It's a playable
fun
matchup.
chat.
Yeah.
Yeah, I think it's like pretty winning. I kind of just walked around. I just got kills. Just couldn't do anything. So I think I went like something like 13-1. But I think Fizz is pretty good.
Yeah.
I think Fizz can play for sure. What were you gonna say, Max?
I was just saying that Jenkins is really good at like finding counter picks to shit. Like the Kennen and Gangplank into Gwen. Like everyone was banning that, and then he just pulls those out.
Actually, the Gangplank Gwen, the reversal.
He was the one that kind of
Pretty cool.
popularized Camille into it too.
Yeah. He had everything on lock for that champion. It was cool.
I think I don't know. I think Worlds meta is gonna be interesting because like I'm curious to see like what the read is. Like I really like want to see like what day 1 is and like of plans and groups because I feel like there are usually slightly different metas between each. And like I have some ideas of, like what might be good, but I'm just like curious to see like especially jungle because it feels like right now like
I think we could have a revert back to I think season 9, the Kiana jungle when that just took over World.
Talent.
Remember that?
Yeah,
Probably.
I think Talent might get played. Yeah,
Zed's clear is very fast, by the way.
you can
Is
309
like 311. Oh,
You can
309.
No. You can 309 clear right now with Scion, by the way.
I saw that. I saw the YouTube video. Someone I can't remember where it got
Someone
linked.
309 cleared with Scion.
Yeah,
That's funny.
Full clear.
Insane.
That's absurd. Yeah.
Okay. We got the big question now. As you guys have played this champion in your games, how much Amumu support do you think will there be? I have a pretty strong opinion about it. I'm curious what yours is.
I think he's good. I think you could fit him into some slots. He's definitely not like super OP, but I definitely think that he's good. So to answer your question, how much he might get played, I would say maybe like 1 out of every 5 games, maybe. Maybe that's too much. Maybe that's too little. Because there definitely are some spots where you can pick him. But you can always rush like Mikhail's against it.
Yeah.
Things of that nature. So, yeah, I think that was actually it's kind of cool because like Riot kind of changing Mumu like that. I don't think we kind of realized like what that would do to Mumu. Like we were all thinking about jungle, right?
Yeah.
But then I think it was LCK kind of like I think that popularized that. I could be wrong, but
I think Amumu support's trash. I'm sorry.
I also think it's terrible.
So what's funny? So what's funny about that is actually while we were at the LAN for
You guys had a
collegiate
crazy
LAN,
pick. Yes.
we played Silas support into a Mumu support,
Mm-hmm.
and we were just like flipping our shit. It was hilarious.
It's probably
It's
like
so
pretty
funny.
good. Like, I mean, I see
Oh,
the
it is,
champ,
yeah.
and I'm just like, you can just pick Braum or Alistar into it, and it's not useful. Like,
Yeah.
I feel like it's way easier to like ward on those champs, and they're way more useful
Yeah.
like throughout the game.
Well, because the way that I see it, Cubby, is that if you're picking a champion that's going to go in and stun, like that's the only job that Amumu has. Why would you not pick Leona? Because Leona has an ability that like reduces damage on herself. Like if you think about all of the engaged tank supports, they all have damage reduction for themselves. Like even Braum has that on his Unbreakable. So why would you play a Mumu where you have two useless abilities on that? Like your level 1 is crazy on a Mumu.
His whole gimmick is pretty much just his ultimate after laning phase. That's pretty much all the champion is. And I guess maybe to answer the question about like the Ona thing, it's just about maybe you can hit more than one person, right?
Yeah.
I mean, unless the enemy's trolling and then you hit a 2-man ult on the end or something, right? But like the value for Mumu can be greater. But I definitely do like I see where you're coming from 100%. Like like Braum is like 100% can like be better, can be like more consistent, and like in some cases like that, right? I think it depends, but
I think it's good into Rakan.
What, Mumu?
Yeah.
Interesting.
Because you can cancel the Grand Entrance quickness combo with your ult or a Q.
That's pretty true.
Outside of that, like I'm seeing it blinded, and I was like, you can play like Taric into it, like
yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, who's
Taric into it sounds pretty good.
I kind of Smurf Taric player. I don't know. I think he played it one game improving on Poom. Yeah.
Poom's played it a lot. He's really good at Taric. Yeah.
They play Callista Taric sometimes.
That champion is
really
so.
That combo is nutty.
That champion has the potential to be like so giga OP in comp.
Oh yeah,
I feel like it's like really unexplored. Like even like.
True.
Blind Braum was coming back, and I was like screaming at my monitor a couple times, like pick Taric. Yeah. It's so good in the Braum. Like
it's so good against like full melee teams. That's the sweet spot. Because if you're auto attacking a lot, then you actually have perma uptime on all of your cooldowns. It's really gross. So yeah, that champion like in the right spot. If you see like 3 melees on their team, like enchanters are pretty good, but they're not as good as Taric. Taric is so broken into that.
It's like the LS of Soraka and Zyra, just Taric.
Yeah.
Yeah.
He's bad against those champions though. So
no,
if you're against Soraka, you can't pick Taric. That's awful.
Yeah.
But yeah. All right. Well, I'm sorry to shit all over your Amumu thoughts. I didn't know that both Cubby and I were both vehemently against it. But so a little backstory to this. Cubby and I are too high ranked to play in like the amateur league that some of our caster friends are in. So we're listed as the coaches for the team instead.
We were not consulting on this at all. They just threw us down as coaches.
Yeah, but we have been helping them a bit, and they have been like insisting on playing a Mumu, and it's just so sad. I'm just like, I guess if you want to play a Mumu,
tell them to play Braum.
Well, that'd be Cubby's job. Cubby, are you gonna get Doc to play Braum?
He already does. I don't need to tell him. It's too easy.
That's true. He's a really good Thresh player also. But he's been playing a lot of Amumu support. I'm like, I hate this. Stop doing this. Yeah. But I'm glad we got your insight on the Worlds meta. Who do you think is gonna win Worlds? You have an idea?
Ooh.
Or who are you like a fan of going in? I think that's
that's a better question.
Because the mid lane pool is stacked at Worlds. It is absurd the mid laners that are there.
Yeah, a bunch of crazy mid lane talent actually. Korea, LPL. I definitely think so. I've kind of been like a T1 fan for a large portion of like my league stuff like that. So I always like to root for T1. Kind of excited for them to be back at Worlds because I don't think they made the appearance at the last Worlds, right? Season 10. I don't think they made an appearance. So it's always kind of exciting for them. I'll be rooting for them. But as far as my predictions to win, maybe you've always got to throw in Dom one, right? But some people to maybe challenge them. I could see RNG. I could see what's the team that has Viper? Is that RNG? Which one is that?
That's FPX, right?
Oh,
Or no,
yeah.
Viper's on EDG.
Oh, okay. Whatever team has Viper on it, I actually think that they're a contender as well. He's kind of been blowing up as far as like his kind of like skill set.
Yeah.
I'm always gonna have my NA pride though, you know, like rooting for Team Liquid. I think 100 Thieves are doomed based off of the pool. But you know, Team Liquid rooting, you know. Dude,
If
I
100
was watching.
if 100 Thieves make it out of that group,
Oh yeah.
NA
It would be
Hopium's restored,
insane.
baby. That's
It would be insane.
NA
But
Hopium is fully restored.
So I was in bed this morning, kind of like I woke up and like, you know, obviously I pull out my phone, I'm like looking at stuff. I see like the group. I'm like, oh, and I'm like, as it gets to like the third bowl or whatever that has the Team Liquid, I'm like, please put someone else here. Please put someone else here. And then I was like, oh, it's doomed.
Yeah. You know
But,
what's even
you know.
crazier is that if Hanwha makes it out of plans, which they will, and if Cloud9 makes it out of plans, which they will, then they're already locked in because C9 can't get into Group C because that doesn't have an LCK team in it, so they're locked into Group A, and they're also fucked. So
yeah,
it's pretty tough for NA this year.
Honestly though, they could do it.
I have some faith in Closer.
I actually feel like
I think Closer and Abadage can do well.
I feel like NA isn't actually as doomed. People might say it is. But they're like we definitely do have like work. It's like and stuff like that.
Closer can
like
slam
NA
JJ.
like,
That's all I'm saying.
yeah, I actually think that NA isn't as like, doomed. Maybe people might think.
Yeah.
Especially like Team Liquid, 100. I think those teams like really good, like that. And so no disrespect, but like I would say Cloud9 too. But then I watched them lose to the Academy roster of FlyQuest. What is going on?
FlyQuest boys are good, man.
No, I agree, but it's like, come on.
No, yeah.
Like those names, you know what I mean? It's like,
yeah, I understand.
But as far as Team Liquid and 100 go, you know, I actually don't think I think they're really good teams. I think they they might surprise people. Hopefully, you know, get out of groups too, and then Pride.
I hope C9
last time Perks was at Worlds, he went pretty far. So he's gone pretty far at Worlds a lot of times. That guy's been in finals. So and he's won MSI. So
yeah,
there's that. That's not something anyone in NA has done. So
it's true.
That's true. He can
native
that,
to NA.
Hopefully.
Yeah, we'll see. All right, so we've got one more event that's coming up. This one you're actually going to be at. You are going to be at Scouting Grounds.
Yeah.
So if you choose to accept.
I will.
There we go. We just wanted to confirm.
That took you a long time to think about that.
Yeah.
Actually, no, think about it. Nah, I'd rather just lay in bed.
Yeah. So this is your first time going, yeah?
Yeah. This is my first
time. How excited are you for that? You get to fly out to LA.
Yeah, you know, it's always kind of like cool to think about, you know, being flown out to LA, playing League, you know, kind of like proving yourself like on, you know, on stage, kind of like on Twitch, stuff like that. I think I'm really excited for like the low ping, especially playing on stage 9 ping. I think that's going to be really cool, especially if the meta could like maybe, oh wait, there's going to be no more patches, right? Because of Worlds?
They keep on patching the game.
Oh, right. Okay, yeah.
You'll play a patch that's enabled.
Hopefully the meta could like maybe skew, maybe one more Akali buff. Like that'd be cool.
You gotta get on Vex. Maybe she'll be enabled.
Gwen and Silas this patch, Bradley.
What
else can you give them? What else can you ask for?
I know. Irelia.
Irelia?
For real? Yeah.
They just reworked her to make her stronger weight. I
know. I mean, you know, some bigger Akali buffs, that'd be much appreciated. Acel nerfs, please. Acel nerfs, that'd be appreciated too.
Ian will be there, yes.
Yeah.
So, I don't know what patch is going to be on. I have no idea. I also don't know if Vex is going to be enabled or not.
Ooh.
I think
Ooh,
I think
true.
traditionally speaking, they don't enable the new champs for Scouting Grounds like
Right.
that. I don't think that happened last year. But then
Mhm.
again, I don't think any new champions were like.
I mean,
out
they
for
enabled
last year.
Auction for Proving Grounds.
That's true.
They did do that.
Tubby, do you remember if Yone was enabled at Scouting Grounds 2020? Because he would have been the one that wasn't at Worlds, but could have been at Scouting Grounds. I don't remember seeing him.
I don't remember seeing him.
Lilia was definitely a big part of that tournament, but I don't remember any Yone. But anyway, yeah, Vex. Who knows?
I hope
Who
so.
knows what patch it'll even be on?
I can. Oh, it's coming out tomorrow.
Oh, is it in? Is it
Yeah.
on?
Yeah, Vex is coming out tomorrow.
Yeah.
Well, I know that she's coming out tomorrow. I don't know what patch Scouting Grounds is gonna be on.
Oh, true. I cannot wait to Terra's tomorrow. Vex.
Yeah.
I cannot wait.
I
She's a mid laner, right? Pretty
I
sure.
don't know.
We're gonna find out. You know.
I don't know where.
I'll do some play testing.
Maybe that's why they gave Fizz some buffs, because you know the Vex
trying to get the melee assassins back. Yeah.
Well, they all are. They're all bad against Vex because they all dash and shit, and she counters that. So, I don't know where she's actually meant to go. I don't think they actually said where they want her to go. But
I hope she's a mid. Please make her a mid. She looks fun.
There was a mage slotted to be a mid laner for this year, so I think that might be her. But at the same time,
she's not a mage though.
She's supposed to be mid, I have a terrorizing idea that she's gonna be played like support.
Into Callista, yeah.
Yeah, like her
she's
kit's
like
ridiculous.
the best champion against Callista in the whole game.
Her kit's really good. I think that she's like gonna be played like in a couple like mid bot support.
Yeah, that's how every champion this year has been though, because Viego was played in 3 roles, Gwen in 3 roles, Akshan in 3 roles, like all of them have been that. So I think that's pretty reasonable. Like the only one that hasn't has been Samira, but like she's just an AD. So.
Bro.
I don't know.
Not to get kind of like sidetracked or anything, but when you're saying like supports in the Callista, I remember I watched like a YouTube video, LS. I think he was doing like scrims, like he filled in for a scrim for like T1 Academy or something like that, right? He played Nasus support. It was the coolest. Yeah, it's the coolest thing I've ever seen.
What a psycho! Jesus
I know,
Christ.
right? But he actually he made it work. He went Comet and then Emax.
Absolute psycho.
To WMAX.
That's so funny.
So cool to watch.
I like that
game. Yeah.
Wow. So we actually have a sort of good idea of who else is going to be at Scouting Grounds, because one of the analysts for AoE, Pukar, put together a sheet, and he has like the projected solo queue people. So I was actually gonna bring these up with you just to see. So we'll do mid, and then if you want, we can do the rest of them. But for mid, it's looking like it's going to be Spearaxe, Darkwings, and then the next person that it could be is Fivefire. So that's going to be the pool for mid. You guys, you definitely have the most stacked role at Scouting Grounds, like not even close.
At the moment, you never know who solo queue can bring in.
That's what I was just saying. Like Pukar's sheet has.
Who's the person below Fivefire? Does he have anyone below Fivefire?
The person below 5, it'd actually be you. And then under that would be Strompest.
Okay. So might look rough for Strompest. I'll see him hit rank 1. You know, the boys. That'd be kind of cool.
I think there are a few weeks left. So there are 2 cycles left.
Yeah.
So there's a chance, but you have to knock down a few people.
For mid lane. Like what did you want to like my thoughts of like our kind of like the mid lane pool?
Yeah.
Kind of Scouting Grounds. I think the mid lane pool is definitely like really stacked. I remember playing against Darkwings and Amateur. Then you said Fireaxe. I played against him in Amateur / collegiate as well. You know, both of them are kind of like no slouch. You kind of full focus. You can't like mess around. You know, it's not like solo queue. You know what I mean? Because especially like in solo queue, like late night solo queue to around like this time, it's kind of like 2 like in the morning is kind of like when
things get questionable for you.
Kinda, yeah. But you start to run into the same people a lot, and like there becomes like a time frame to where you're just kind of playing against like the same high elo mids. and like during that time you kind of have to like full focus, whereas like sometimes you kind of just like go to sleep. But I definitely think the mid lane pool is pretty good. It's gonna be exciting to see what are the other roles looking like,
Okay,
because
so
I definitely do
the
think that mid lane could be affected a lot by kind of like the teams and stuff like that.
right.
Yeah.
Because
Um,
any of the four mids kind of like I think could easily like do like very very well
oh yeah.
in scouting grounds. I think it might have to do with like the team and stuff like that. You know, that randomized
So
button.
the other roles so far, every role is locked except for we don't technically know how the tiebreaker is going to go between Wixie and Sketstreams for Proving
Oh,
Grounds. I mean, um,
oh right.
it's
One v
probably
one.
going to be
AD
Wixie.
carry. Dual 1v1.
It's probably going to be Wixie based on head-to-head and seeding. Both of those favor Cloud9, so it'll probably
Oh,
be him.
does he have
But
higher seeding?
for Proving Grounds, yeah, Cloud9 were a
Right,
higher seed
right.
than AoE, and they
Oh,
beat
that'd
them
be kind of
in
late.
the first round. So I think Wixie will probably end up being the AD that goes, but Sketstreams could also. Sketstreams also pretty close in solo queue as well. Um,
Hmm.
the other players that are close are Short Hop and Good Boy for bot.
Yeah.
The solo queue for support is looking like it's going to be Plux and Clyde. And then for
Ooh.
jungle, it looks like it's going to be Perry and Sheeden. Sheeden being at Scouting Grounds would be sick as fuck. That
Yeah.
guy is so good.
Free Sheehan, for real.
And then for top, it looks like it's going to be Concept and Bejani, who I actually don't know. I don't know who that is.
Bejani. Wait. I thought Bejani was a one trick. Maybe I could be wrong.
Maybe he is.
Wait, but how does he have points then? Isn't there a one trick rule? Maybe he's
There is
not.
a one trick
There is a
rule.
one trick rule, yeah.
Maybe he's gonna smurf on everyone. I'm just talking out my ass. Who knows?
Dragoon would be the next guy after that, so maybe it'll be him. But
Mhm.
I don't know.
Did we talk about
what's
jungle
that?
at all?
Yeah, so jungle was Sheeden and Perry.
Oh, right. She didn't Perry. Yeah.
Yeah.
Damn.
Yeah, looking pretty cool. I'm actually pretty excited for Perry. I was pretty impressed with some of the stuff that he had in the split. I don't think that team like got a lot of attention, but I thought Perry was pretty cool.
Mm-hmm. Yeah.
Perry's carried one of my games, so I'm always very thankful.
Yeah. Yeah, I definitely think like this year's Proving Grounds is actually gonna be pretty cool. Or not Proving Grounds, Scouting Grounds. It's kind of weird to say like the two
Yeah, they got the
grounds,
same
Proving Grounds, Scouting
last
Grounds kind
word.
of thing. Yeah. Yeah. Wow, I'm excited actually hearing like all these people going and stuff like that. I can't wait.
It's always a good time. It's gonna be a good tournament. So yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing it. But yeah.
Yeah. Hopefully, fingers crossed. Cubby and I get to cover it.
Do they always do like the mountain, ocean, infernal, cloud? Do they always do that?
Yeah, and then they split up like the teams that like the LCS teams that work with them. So
true.
It's 2-2 and then 3-3. Just depends on like what kind of staff you get. They do a draft that's like hidden to like see like who gets on what teams.
It was only hidden last year. It's been public for all the other years. So I think now that it's in person, it might actually be public again.
Who knows?
So wait, how would that work? Like the draft for like the random like would they show people going to like would it be kind of like a worlds like you know like how they kind of like fit into like the things? Would they do it like that? Would they draw by like role?
They do it.
No, they like
do
actually
it manually.
pick you guys. Yeah,
Yeah.
they like the teams like actually.
What you would just line up and you just I want that one.
Yeah, pretty much.
Like okay.
Yeah.
Oh, sick. Oh, that's kind of cool.
Yeah, it's kind of fun.
Yeah.
And then at the end there's the draft at the end as well, where each LCS team, unless they sell their spot, gets to sign one of you. So
true.
It'll be really good.
I hope that happens to me. Trying to make it. That'd be kind of cool actually.
It's 20 players there, so like they like all like pick you like on the teams. Then like after that, obviously like the teams like they have like the 10 draft picks. And then in the past, like they've picked, I'd say like 3 or 4 players get signed a year, like from Scouting Grounds, like who actually get drafted, which is pretty good.
Yeah, last year was more. Last year there were a lot.
Yeah.
It was a pretty good off season for that last year. I think it was, what was it, like 14 of the 20 players got picked up for an LCS org. It was really nuts, actually. the most successful
yeah.
scouting grounds ever.
Yeah.
In terms of promotions, anyway. But yeah, I think this one's gonna be super cool. It's gonna be so nice for you guys to actually be in person again too, because like
Get a break from
especially
COVID.
the fact that like Academy and Proving Grounds and like everything involving it was like online the entire year. Like, this is the only in-person event for you guys, so I think that's gonna be awesome.
Yeah. Yeah, I cannot wait. You know, kind of like get away from COVID. That's always gonna be nice.
Yeah.
Doing some in-person things, you know, being flown out. That's always kind of cool.
Yeah, hopefully everything is able to like run smooth, and hopefully they are able to do it in person. That would be obviously a lot greater experience for you, right? Like earning that trip to LA is
absolutely
fun part of it.
Yeah. Being to play like on stage or something like that, that would be really cool.
Yeah.
Well, I think we're overtime actually by a bit here. It's just so fun talking to you, Bradley.
Yeah, so much to talk about.
Yeah. This is about the time of the podcast where I ask our guest how they came up with their player name, but I think I know for you.
Well, you could ask about Freeze, my old idea.
Ooh, that's a good point. Yeah, how'd you come up with Freeze?
I thought it sounded cool.
That's it.
What the hell, man?
I mean, just let us walk into that one like that.
Yeah. I mean, to be honest, like, there's also a part of me that wants to go by Freeze. It's weird too. I think so I kind of like I name change for 2 reasons. So I wanted the initial Freeze, right? But someone had that. He's like an Anivia one, right? So I was like, well, I have to put something in front of it, right? So I did that. I made my name CB Freeze. Then like I wanted to move away from it because I found out that the EU Freeze, the AD carry, came to NA, and now he's on 100 Thieves. So I never really asked, but I kind of just figured since he already has Freeze and a lot of people already associate Freeze with him, it'd be kind of weird if I wanted to make that my pro name as well. So I kind of was just like, well, what's like another name? And I remember this was around the time when I decided to not play amateur, grind solo queue. So I just had some demonic solo queue names because I was trying to figure out what like a comp name would be. I think the first name that I made was Galaxy ZZZ. I had that for solo queue, for like galaxies. And then I decided, nah, I don't want to do that. But then I'm just not a creative person, I guess. So I was just like, well, I'm just gonna follow the good old first person trend. And I just want to say Philip copied mine. He copied me 100%. His name was the real Philip, but he just changed it to Philip copier. So
all right, now that that's been established, you know, that's that's fun. But hey, Bradley, before I let you go, any other things you like to share? Shout outs, thank yous you like to give?
Sure, we could do some shout outs. You know, I always like to do some shout outs. I don't have anything to share, anything, you know, kind of just look out for me in scouting grounds, stuff like that. But
it's a good thing to share.
Yeah. You know, kind of like to shout out, you know, whoever's watching, the viewers, you know, kind of stuff like that. I know some of my friends in some Discords are probably watching me. Shout out to like my collegiate bros who kind of like are all kind of next to me, you know, they're my homies. Yeah, shout out to my mom and my family. You know, they're actually a huge importance for me because they always like it means a lot to me when I have, like people like rooting for me, stuff like that. Because like I always want to like make people happy, make people proud. And not to like go like super off topic because I'm trying to like close stuff like that. But my family is kind of like pretty much like a gaming family, so it means a lot to me to finally kind of like prove myself and like rise up kind of like in league to maybe try to make that something, you know, positive for my family because my older brother was actually the one who got me into league and then he almost went pro, so part of me is kind of like doing it for him as well. So you know, shout out to my family, you know, my friends, you know, everyone watching. Shout out to you guys for actually inviting me on. You guys make this a banger.
It was an easy
always.
Call.
Yeah, I love watching your podcast.
Well, thanks. Hey, glad to have you as a listener and glad to have you as a guest as well, man. It's been a good ass time. So thanks for joining us. Glad we could get this on the calendar.
Yes. I remember my favorite podcast of y'all's was when you had Arrow come on and you guys started talking about McDonald's. That was so funny.
that was a good time.
So much.
That was a good time.
That was awesome. Yeah. It was it's been hard to top that, but I feel like we did a pretty good job with this one. So the superior Wildcard podcast member, I think we'll have to hash that out.
Oh, I will say if I'm trying to sway anyone's mind, I did. So I went to LA not too long ago, and I visited some friends. I actually got to meet up with Arrow, and we played a chess match IRL, and I won.
Ooh.
Oh,
mental edge.
Kind of a genius, you could say. You know, kind of a genius.
Okay.
You could call me a grandmaster. You know.
Yeah, 1 point for Bradley. Wow. That's
you know how
impressive.
they make fun of like NA brain? You could say like KR brain now. KR brain. Yep.
I like it.
Yeah, me too. All right, well, thanks so much, Bradley, for being on the show. It's been a very, very fun time. I'm glad we got you in before the end of Proving Grounds, which is this weekend. In case you have been living under a rock and you're listening to this, we are about to get underway with the top 4 and the end of Proving Grounds summer and the end of Proving Grounds for 2021, the first year that it's ever existed. So big stuff happening this weekend. You better watch. Both Cubby and I will be there for the broadcast that we're on, but also in the chat, I'm sure, for everything. Even while I'm moving, I'll have it up on my phone. So you'll
pay attention to the road snacks if you're driving.
No,
on the dashboard, right?
We're just going like right over there. It's fine. I'm not driving the.
Oh no! The tech is like when you're driving, you have one hand on the wheel and then you have the other hand holding your phone, so that if you want to glance, so if you want to glance, you just kind of like glance. Because if you hold your phone like right there, it's right next to the road, so it's not like down or anything, you know. Like,
I will say,
if you do, of course, safety.
We're gonna go boomer mode. When it used to be like before touchscreens and it was like keyboards, I had one friend in high school that would always text like with his hands on the wheel like this and like drive.
Oh my god!
So like the cops would see it, but it was actually like pretty safe because like you could at least like see the road, right?
Yeah.
That's pretty funny. That's why like middle-aged white dads have the like dashboard like GPS holder thing for their phone.
Oh yeah, they have that like phone holder thing.
Yeah.
I mean,
I know Cubby's got one of those.
Could also just be like Uber drivers.
Oh, you trying to call him like a middle-aged dad? Trying to call him old? What are you saying?
Yes, that's Cubby's whole branding. Yeah, I'm doing him a favor there.
Actually, he lost his branding, shaving his stash now.
That's true.
He lost his branding.
Mistakes were made.
You and Kangas could have been the mustache cast.
Because that's really the only reason why I'm here. You know, it's just for the brand. That's it.
Yeah. Well, all right. Speaking of the brand, thanks so much for tuning in. You can follow us at PGroundsPod on Twitter and at Proving Grounds Pod on all of our audio platforms. We got YouTube, we got Twitch. As you're if you're watching live, you're here. You got Apple, Spotify, Anchor, and Google. And if you want to follow Bradley, who just turned into night mode Bradley, his Twitter is on the screen.
Someone just turned off my light.
Yeah.
So,
that looks nice.
It's time to go, baby. We're closing up.
Yeah. Bradley with 3 Ys.
I'm probably going to change it at some point. I'm probably going to change my Twitter. I've changed my Twitter handle like 3 times already. I'm probably going to change it again.
All right,
well for now.
If it's not the same and you need his Twitter, just DM me or something. I'll give it to you. But yeah. Thanks so much for tuning in, everyone. This has been episode 34 of the Proving Grounds Pod. We'll catch y'all next time. Have a good night.
Bye.